At exactly 6:05, my alarm goes off, and of course, I ignore it. 6:10, and the next one sounds. I ignore that one too. Eventually, at 6:30, I roll over to turn off my alarm, see that I've drastically overslept, and hop out of bed in a frenzy of adrenaline. I get ready in just about 10 minutes. I don't have enough time to make a proper lunch, so I throw some things in a plastic bag. That's one. Next, I realize something is missing. It's 6:45 and I need all the time I can get for parking because of our absurdly crowded lots. But I want some coffee. So, being the 17-year-old girl I am, I can make time for Dunkin' Donuts. That's two. By 10:20, I've gotten through my first few periods, which as a senior feels like daycare. The bell sounds for lunch and my friends and I grab a seat by the windows. We unpack our Uncrustables, Go-Go Squeezes, bags of chips, and set down our Dasani water bottles, despite the abundance of water fountains on every corner. That's three. My last few periods fly by before I have to head over to my internship, which is a TA in a preschool classroom. I spend the first 30 minutes collecting water cups and preparing for snack time. Most of the 3-year-olds won't even drink the water, but it'll end up all over the floor anyways. In the last hour, I throw away their trash and get ready for story time. That's 4. I get home for dinner and my mom and I are both exhausted. So, Chinese food it is. Our orange chicken and beef arrive in styrofoam containers. That's 5. At least 5 major points in anyone's day, you can identify the unnecessary use of plastic. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, in 2017 alone, the US produced 267.8 million tons of solid waste. That's 4.5 pounds of waste per day per person. For scale, imagine carrying 4.5 pound-sized bags of sugar with you every single day. Now, in the past 2 centuries, the Earth's temperature has increased 2 degrees. This is the greatest global temperature increase in the history of mankind. The reason for this? Us. The burning of fossil fuels is the #1 contributor to this climate change. Second, deforestation. Third, the clothes you're wearing right now. In the 1980s, Americans bought 12 new articles of clothing each year on average. Now, we buy 68 new pieces of clothing each year. This is due to a new phenomenon called fast fashion. And I promise you, even if you've never heard of it, you're wearing at least one article of fast fashion clothing at this very moment. Some of your favorite large retailers, H&M, Zara, Topshop, Forever 21, the list goes on. Look at high fashion and upcoming trends, produce these garments in high volume, and put them in a retail environment. It's about making popular clothing that's quick, cheap, trendy, and affordable. Sounds great, right? But at what cost? Mass market retailers create new clothing to put in their stores every week. There are now 52 fashion seasons in a single year, formerly 2. Now, the materials used to produce these clothes include crude oil and a material called viscose. Viscose is made from harvested forest wood, 70% of which is dumped or incinerated. Fabrics such as polyester and spandex need up to 350 barrels of crude oil every year. Your favorite Lululemon leggings? They're made of oil, and they're killing the environment. Water use is a whole other thing. Growing the cotton to make a single jacket, the one you could be wearing right now, required 10,330 liters of water. That's 24 years of drinking water for a single person. Now that's just for cotton. Synthetic fabrics? Somehow worse. The processes used to make these fabrics are so harmful and pollutant, they never degrade. Instead, they produce harmful and even deadly acids, which are now a part of our rivers and lakes worldwide. In China alone, 70% of its rivers and lakes are contaminated by 2.5 billion gallons of wastewater from the fast fashion industry. But China, that's not our backyard. So who cares, right? We live in a perpetual bubble of ignoring the issue and procrastinating any action at all because it doesn't directly affect us. We sit idly by in ignorance and eventually act drastically when it's already too late. This is the nature of humans. This is also American culture. Grade A example, the 2008 financial crisis. The 2008 financial crisis was, in one word, preventable. To put it simply, banks were providing mortgages to people who could not afford them. Why? Because it paid their commission. Eventually, over 3 million foreclosure filings were listed. So hear me out. Let's not do this. Let's recognize that we are all responsible as individuals. And I think it starts with acknowledging our privilege. We have the ability to go to Starbucks every day, to use these plastics, to buy these clothes, because we are not among the ones that it impacts. So it doesn't matter, right? It does. I'm sick and tired of hearing that this is for my generation to solve, that this is any one group's issue, because it's not. This is everyone. This is literally the entire world. This is you. So much can come from that which we do ourselves. Well, this is also the fault of our lawmakers, of monopolies, and of consumerism, and we must call for their action. We don't have time to wait. This is now. These thoughts circled my mind for the entirety of my junior year. So I took action. It became, as I so succinctly call it, the Plastic Project. I delved into the county's contract with our current plastic utensil distributors and room in the budget to switch to sustainable utensils. I was frantically emailing the officers at the Board of Education and my school principal, Cynthia Dillon, hoping for traction. Eventually, I landed a meeting with our principal, Cynthia Dillon, and 3 officers from the Board of Education. The focus of my presentation, the food and nutrition officer, arrived 30 minutes late, only to prioritize the messages on his phone. During my introduction, I was cut off, interrupted, and listening to an extended list of reasons as to why my plan would never work. Kids like you have tried before, he said. There's a budget, rules, contracts, procedures to be followed. He went on for 20 more minutes, slowly consuming my presentation time and reiterating how I had already failed. It was frustrating, but I digress. You can probably tell that I annoy the heck out of my friends and family with this. My friends and I will be at Target and I have to comment, "You didn't need a bag." Or my dad will be microwaving dinner for himself and I have to say, "Single-use plastic." But you see, this is what I'm saying. It's these minuscule moments, these seemingly meaningless times every single day that mean everything. They're the beginning and they're the end. And in 100 years, your last night's microwavable soup will still be there. And your Starbucks cup, and your razor, and your Safeway bag. But maybe they won't, because maybe we won't make it to 100 years. So what do we actually do? It seems as though every academic journal, every scientific article, every op-ed newspaper details this dystopian future we're heading towards, where fossil fuels all gone, plastic pollution too irreversible, and carbon emissions too high. It's how it feels, doesn't it? All it takes is a few changes. Start with 1, then 10, then 20. Please, buy a reusable water bottle. I'm begging you. Maybe buy some reusable containers. I promise your goldfish will taste just as good in a container as they will in a plastic baggie. Take 1 minute shorter of a shower. Maybe 2, if you're feeling crazy. Turn off the faucet while you're brushing your teeth. Go to Starbucks 1 less time each month. Stop buying from fast fashion retailers. Thrift your clothing. Take 1 step forward. Recognize that you are making a change, and choose to take another step forward. Here's my challenge for you. Wake up tomorrow morning and count every single thing that you throw away. I guarantee you it's more than you think. Then the next day, do less. And the next day, even less. I spoke tonight not to deem myself the heroine of this challenge, nor to point the finger at anyone, but instead to ask a very important question. What will you do? Thank you.